Good afternoon, everybody. I really hope you're okay. This is the first health talk we're doing this week. We've got quite a few actually health talks, and obviously, I'm doing a focus on 14 days to sleep better within the WhatsApp group that we have. But I wanted to do a couple of specials this week, really to help you as an individual with your ability and your confidence in things like squats and lunges. And those of you that are instructors, obviously you could pass this information on to your clients as well. And this is about improving the strength around the joint. So when we're dealing with joints, the way a joint becomes stronger is the fact if the muscles around it are also strong to support it, and if the ligaments and the tendons are also strong and flexible. We don't want joints to be stiff. In order to be able to keep them flexible is movement, as always. I always talk about movement is medicine, and it really does. It kind of gives that lubrication in order for those joints to stay nice and healthy. So I'm going to give you some key exercises which are going to help to improve the strength around your knees and around your hips, and then some key points that you could do that's going to help you with your confidence with regards to improving your squats and with regards to your lunges from there. So as always, do what feels right for you. If there is an injury around these joints, or if you've had surgery, or if you've got limited movement, you're going to need to kind of pick and choose what's going to be right for you, what's going to be most relevant. I'm going to start with the knees. Now, the knee is a hinge joint. So essentially, a hinge joint, you have two of them in your body, elbows and knees. They really should only flex and extend. So we can flex the knee and we can extend the knee here. The muscles that are heavily kind of involved with regards to the knees are the calf, and then the quads and the hamstrings. But also the inner and outer thigh play a huge role because they also lap over, and the glutes play a huge role as well. And the reason that the glutes play such a huge role is because obviously if the glutes are inactive, then it can put excess on the knee. The other thing to be aware of is foot function and ankle mobility. If somebody has got limited ankle mobility, or they've got anything that's kind of preventing their foot function to be as good, then again, it's going to cause repercussions coming up, because if someone isn't able to walk kind of with correct gait, then it's going to affect their knees. So we kind of need to be aware of the joints around it. We need to think about, creating good foot function, and you might want to look back over any of the foot therapy sessions, happy feet sessions that I've done in the past to improve that foot function and ankle mobility, and that's going to play a huge role as well. But we need to think about the strength of our calves. We also need to think about the strength of our quads, our hamstrings, our inner and outer thighs. So first of all, let's do some exercises that would be really good for improving our calf without any equipment at all. So a simple calf raise, coming up and down, lifting and lowering. Now, the way in which we can change this is to bring the heels inwards and do like a Mary Poppins calf raise. And again, that's going to really work through those calf muscles. We could add in a little bit of support if we need it by using maybe a wall or a chair. And we could change this up slightly by doing maybe a slightly different rhythm. And I've done this before, where I've done some focus on some feet work, where we're coming up onto the toes, bend the knees, lower the heels and straighten, lift, bend, lower and straighten, and then reverse that, bend the knees, lift the heels, straighten the legs and lower, bend the knees, lift the heels, up and lower. So you could play around with the movement that you've got there for those calf muscles. Now, that could be enhanced if you were to then elevate the feet up, say, for instance, onto blocks or onto steps. So I'm going to use the blocks for the moment. This could be on a step as well. And then essentially what you're doing is allowing the heels to come lower and lift. You've got a bigger range of movement now because you've not got the floor in the way. So you can work onto like a decline, going down in there, and that's going to improve those. So we really want to focus on getting good calf strength. Now, there are exercises and exercise classes which really work the calf muscles. So things like step, you are pretty much on your, toes the whole way through. So you are really working those calf muscles. Really great for calf strength. And also anything like bar, any of the bar element classes that we've done, again, a lot of work for the calves because of the amount of point and flex work that you're doing. So really good at strengthening those calf muscles. Feel free to add any of those in if you want to gain extra strength in the calves. Making sure, though, that you stretch effectively, because we don't want tight Achilles, we don't want tight calf muscles. So bringing that into a calf stretch, making sure that that's effective. Remember, we've got the calf stretch we do down on the floor here where we're bending one knee, straightening the other. We can also stretch the calves on the floor using a block, pulling the toes to us, having the foot elevated, and then moving that block so that it goes higher, even more of a stretch, even higher still, even more of a stretch. So we're getting that really nice, effective calf stretch from there. Then if we're thinking about our quads, working through the quads, making sure that these are nice and strong. From a standing perspective, again, this could be done against a door or it could be standing free. You could either just do a simple leg lift with either a bent knee or a straight leg, flexing the foot, engaging the quads even further. So that's going to be a great exercise to strengthen those quad muscles. That could also be done with a band around the thighs. So you could take that band around the thighs, and that's going to give you more resistance to work against. And that could be done with a straight leg, lifting and lowering. From a seated perspective, sitting down on the floor, either with or without the band, straight leg lifts. Again, flexing the foot, really working through those quad muscles. Going to make those really, really effective. So brilliant stuff. I mean, squats and lunges obviously really work the quads, but if we're wanting to train these muscles and build our confidence first before we go into those movements, these are going to be your key ones. Okay, so you've got your leg lifts there for the quads. Then if we're thinking about our hamstrings, so the back of the muscles into the back of the legs, essentially we can do this from a standing hamstring curl. Take the leg back, flex the foot, curl the heel in to the bottom. So you can either do that from a standing perspective. That could be done with, again, a band around the legs. Or you could bring this down onto the floor as long as it's comfortable to kneel. And you've got your hamstring curl here working into the back of the legs, which is going to be really effective. If kneeling was an issue, you could come down onto the floor and you could do a hamstring curl laying, bringing the heel in towards the bottom, which would be effective. Now, you could also put a mini ball in between the ankles, squeeze, and that works the back of the legs and the bottom at the same time, which can be really good. Then thinking about inner and outer thighs, lots and lots of different options. From a standing perspective, your outer thigh work is going to come from your outer thigh lifts. Slightly turn the foot so you lead with your heel. That's going to engage through into the outer thigh a little bit more. And then for your inner thigh, it comes across the body. And again, you lead with the heel, and that's going to work more into that inner thigh. Oh, I think I've got someone who's joining me. Amanda. Hello, Amanda. So bringing that in on the inside, and that's going to be effective. That obviously could be done against the wall, and it could also be done with your activation band around the thighs. From a laying point of view, side lying leg lifts, really working the outer thigh. If then you wanted to change that up to work the quads, just turn the toes, and then you start firing up through the quads a little bit more here as well, which can be really good. From your sideline perspective, again, that could be done with the activation band around the thighs. And then if you want to kick into inner thighs, switch the legs, lead with the heel, and then that's going to bring that up and down into those inner thighs. If we're also thinking about other exercises we could do, no problem, brilliant. For our outer thighs, now this could either be done standing, could be like a standing crab walk, working both inner and outer thighs are working here as well. A standing clam, pushing those knees in and out, working again inner and outer thighs. Seated clam, working the inner and outer thighs. Or of course, laying, either with the butt down, or if you want to work the glutes as well at the same time, lifting up and you've got that resistance there, inner and outer thighs are working. To work through the inner thighs primarily, you could do mini ball squeezes that could be done either seated or they could be done laying, squeezing the glutes as well, working those, or from a standing perspective, squeezing here. All of these muscles play such a huge role in keeping the knees really nice and strong. And then if we're thinking about then trying to improve our confidence when we squat and when we lunge, we might need to use a little bit of an aid here. So this is where we can start to use equipment to help aid the movement. Now for squats, a couple of things you can do. First of all, a fit ball, that behind, pressing against the ball, you'll find that people's squat depth actually goes much deeper than it normally would if they didn't use the ball. So squats with the ball can be a brilliant way to boost confidence. You feel like you're secure, feel like you've got that support that you might need, can be really, really effective. We can also use a band around an anchor point, hold on, and then from here, take that resistance and you're going to squat. And again, you've got the confidence that you've got the support of the band. So you just go down as low as that feels good for you. When someone's heels are lifted, they can get down deeper. So whether or not that comes from the fact that you use maybe blocks or maybe things like the balance pods, having the heels lifted onto your blocks, toes down, all of a sudden, we now can get down, lower. It's why squat shoes have like a heel lift in them, that you can get that improvement into that squat position. And then I've said it time and time again, when you turn the feet out, you have the legs wider, you increase the external rotation of the hip. Sometimes that can just be a key thing that actually then all of a sudden you can squat lower than you were before. So having your heels lifted either up onto balance pods or onto blocks, using a fit ball behind the back, using a support of a band, all of these things will improve confidence of squats. You'll feel more confident, you'll be able to get down lower, improve technique, and then you can work on that range. With regards to lunges, all of the exercises I gave earlier are absolutely key as well to help with regards to improving confidence in lunges because they're going to help with the hips. Now, the hips are a bit more complex because these are ball and socket joints, so they're multi-dimensional. And yes, absolutely, you can flex and extend of the hip, but you can also do abduction and adduction. You can do circumduction, and you can do rotation here at that hip as well. So a lot bigger range of movement, but you still need to have strength in the calf, in the quads, in the hamstrings, in the inner and outer thighs, and in the glutes in order for you to keep that hip really nice and strong. So all of those exercises still are going to be really key. Bringing in a little bit more glute focus as well also can be really helpful. So again, from a standing point of view, this could be done with support on a wall. You've got your glute kickbacks, and I'm going to be running a no kick glute session just after this. So there's going to be loads of exercises to be able to add in from there. From a kneeling point of view, it can either come from a straight leg lift here, or you can go into a curtsy kick away, which work through the outer part of the glute as well as inner and outer thighs, which can be really key. We can also do a fire hydrant, which works through outer part of the glute as well, which can be really effective. From a sideline perspective, we've got our sideline clam, which really works more of the outer part of the glute. We can also, like I said, do our toe tap down. We can take that into like a rainbow, where you rainbow round the front and round the back, and also holding onto the leg and kicking forward. Really work through the outer part of the thigh and the glute, and then drop the toes down and up. And that really fires up those glutes massively. Of course, all of that could be done with the activation band around the legs. And then from your laying point of view for your glutes, we've got our glute bridge, lifting and lowering. If you have your knees in and your feet out, works more of the outside of the glutes, but also the inner thighs. Coming up, squeezing in and out, working through inner and outer thighs as well. And then single glute work with the other leg lifted, whether that leg's here or here, squeezing up and down. I did quite a lot of that in my Mind Over Matter this morning, Fitness Pilates, so check that out as well. But we really need to focus on improving our leg strength, again, which is going to help with our lunges. Now, a couple of things that you can do to help with your lunge confidence. First one is an activation band. This really gives the support a little bit like a press up on these difficult moves. Split stance, it's important with a lunge that you don't stand too narrow, and you also stand with your back leg far enough away so your heel is lifted. You couldn't put that heel down if you tried, but you need to be able to push against the band. And it very much is, you are lowering and lifting. You are not trying to move forward or back. The knee goes down to the floor and then lift. So you're pressing against the band. Now that might need to be done with the support of the wall, and that will gain confidence in that lunge position as well. Heel will be lifted and you'll be able to feel confident as you're coming down and up from there. The other thing that could be a real game changer is just giving a support for the knee that's coming down to the floor. So I'm going to roll up my mat, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to split my feet over the rolled up mat. Start with the knee down, cushioned by the mat, feels really nice and secure. From here, we then lift and lower, lift and lower. And it's very much a push up. That could be done without the band as well. And that's going to improve that confidence, that rather than feeling like you've got to step into the lunge, which many people struggle with, set the feet up first and then just push up and down. Both lunges and squats are super functional. Squats are going to help people get up and down from their seat, toilet seat, chair, in everyday life. A lunge helps people get up and down from the floor. Again, super functional. So we shouldn't shy away from them. But what we need to do is give confidence in order to be able to get those exercises and do them effectively, so that we, feel confident doing our squats and our lunges. So I really hope that's helped. I hope that's given you key exercises to help with strength for your calves, for your quads, for your hamstrings, your inner and outer thighs, and your glutes. And then you've got some key points that you can use to help improve your confidence with your squats, like having a heel raise, using a band, using a ball, And then for your lunges, using an activation band and using a mat. Let me know if there's any questions at all over any of that, gang. Otherwise, in 5 minutes, I'm going to be doing no kit glute gains. So no equipment at all. I'm going to do lots of standing work and I'm going to do some floor work, all going to be designed to help keep those glutes really nice and strong. So let me know any questions. Thanks a lot, gang, and I will see you on a live or a catch up real soon.